Everybody, this is Bruce, and today I just wanted to talk to you about why I got started in the digital altitude business. Um, First, I just wanted to see if it was something that I could do, and B, I've been at my current job at HEB for I think going on like maybe 18 years, and I really needed to try something else. And I've tried other businesses in the past, and they just simply didn't work. I kind of just depleted my resources, whether cash, and it's usually cash, and I went by pretty much old traditional marketing methods, like so. The last business I did was Herbalife, and one of the traditional methods for marketing was, me and my wife were putting flyers like on cars, and it just simply didn't work out. I ended up losing a whole lot of money. Um, and I think last year sometime I ended up making, I think the FTC ended up sending me a check because there were several members from Herbalife that had spent a good deal of money and ended up losing some kind of fraud within the system. It went all the way back to the guy, I guess, up at top. So when I seen Digital Altitude online, the first thing that came to mind was, can I do this business? And I tried the dollar trial, and I went through the steps, and I pretty much liked it. I had a coach. He called. I talked to him. I told him my motivation for doing this business. And then there was a period of time where I didn't. I kind of strayed away from the business after a while, and um, I needed to find a way to raise capital. So I started with Easy One Up. It was a pretty good business. I mean, what was advertised was you can make anywhere from zero to $1,000 a week, and again, that was appealing. And I went to Traffic for Me to purchase some traffic, and I got really good traffic to my site. Sorry. So I had all these names on my list, and um, all these numbers and these emails, and I guess what wasn't advertised was that I would have to get a VR in order to um, call all these leads. Now, the Easy One Up system has I think there is a alternative where you can pay for them to do the calls for you, but I just didn't have the money. So what happened was I ended up going back to Digital Altitude, and I really immersed myself deeply, going through, the 18 steps, and I ended up purchasing Rise. Now, like on my last video, after I purchased Rise, they actually I forced myself to go to the MME event, and that was on my last video, and it was a really good event. Um, but like my motivation, well, first, no one thinks I can do this business. As far as family, wife doesn't think I can do this business because um, she's still a little bit sore after um, us doing Herbalife, and she just simply thinks it's a waste of money. And Digital Altitude is a high ticket system. Um, but as I'm thinking about whether I can afford it or not, I think a lot of the material that I read when it comes to establishing the certain mindset you need to be an entrepreneur and to run a business is it's not can I afford it, it's how can I afford it. So um, the best gift my coach gave to me was he told me to watch Chef's Table on Netflix, um, which is probably one of the most motivating shows um, that I think anyone um, could watch, and I think you should check it out. Um, I think anyone can live vicariously through any of the chefs on that show. I just finished watching 2 episodes today, and in season 2, I think episode 4, what resonated with me the most, I think the chef from Mexico, he kind of defined success as um, it had nothing to do with recognition. It had more to do with being proud of what you do. And I really like, that definition. Um, and that's something that'll stay with me while I do this business. The last one that I read, the chef was from Slovenia, and her parents had like high hopes, for, they wanted her to get a good education. They wanted her to inevitably be a diplomat, but she met someone who was in the restaurant business, and she ended up starting a restaurant business and going actually against her parents' wishes. And I think for quite a while, her father didn't talk to her when he found out that she was going to open a restaurant. And what's motivating about it is that while I guess the first stages, she talked about how difficult it was, how the only thing she really knew how to cook was ravioli, and it was pretty much learn as you go process. And keep in mind, this lady has, I think she's on the list as far as one of the top 50 restaurants like in the world. But as you're watching it, what she does is she goes to the library and she's just learning how to put together, ingredients, because she says she was like in an abyss of ignorance. She didn't know how to put anything together. She pretty much experimented as far as giving dishes to her guests coming in, and what you can extrapolate from that is, I think, like I said in the last video, it takes quite a long time. I guess the key is the key is being persistent. And she was persistent with it. But what gets me is that for all the criticisms against people that start their own business, if you ever talk to someone that was successful, the last thing that they would ever tell you is that you can't do it. It's usually those. I mean, if someone's going to tell me that I can't do something, you have to have something that I want, something that I'm striving for, and from the entrepreneurs that I've listened to, from the ones that I've talked to, from the interviews that I've seen, they've all had to endure some form of hardship. It just seems like unavoidable, and most of them have failed, which is something that happens to you, and again, quitting is something that you do. Get hooked on TED Talks. The one I just listened to by Bill Erkstrom was How Comfort Can Ruin Your Life. And I think it's like the fourth time I've actually listened to it. So, for example, what I'm doing now is uncomfortable for me because I don't like the sound of my voice. And, it's like standing in the mirror and like talking to people, or actually talking to like a mirror. Is that something I'm comfortable with? But like he says in the video, if you don't experience discomfort, if you're like in the realm, what he calls like the fourth growth rings, when your outcome is predictable, you don't grow. When your outcome is unpredictable, that's when you grow. And on one of the growth rings is called complexity. So he gives three ways that can actually happen. One, you trigger it, yourself, just something that happens to you, or someone else triggers it, or it's a set of circumstances that actually happens that puts you in that environment where, as Tony Robbins says, when you don't have resources, you have to become a more resourceful person. So whenever I find myself not wanting to do the business, or, I guess in a way, life kind of happens, I kind of dig deep, and I guess start writing goals. My first goal was to actually write goals. And I think writing goals actually gives you some, design to your life. But I guess, again, watching that TED Talk really helped me think and become comfortable being uncomfortable. It helped me put myself in a state of unfamiliarity, to where I'm always challenging myself, to where the last thing I think of is if I can't do it, what do I need to do to just say, get from point A to point B? Okay. Um, I'm on, if anyone has any questions, I'm on Facebook. I love having, good discussions. So you guys hit me up then. Thank you. Bye bye.